An ultra rare card. This ultra rare card, to be exact, is worth around 20 cents at the time of me making this video. Now, I'm no expert when it comes to exact pull ratios of different rarities, especially now that prismatic secret rares, if that is your real name, are a part of the equation, but I know ultra rares have the capability to garner a decent price point when released in core sets. Spirit Sculptor is like many other random gimmick cards in that it both isn't taken seriously yet, has the potential to be the spiciest tech in all the lands. Even on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia, it harbors the distinction of being one of the few cards in the game that can theoretically search any monster in the game. So why is this card so undervalued and even more underused? Is the gimmick too math intensive? Is a tribute for a search too costly? Is this just an engine evaluation because JC can't think of a different series name to talk about this one specific card? Find out that and more in this special one card engine evaluation, Spirit Sculptor. So for the sake of this not being an infinitely long video, I've decided to just go through all of the targets I could figure out in terms of Spirit Sculptor tributing himself for his own search. I believe this not only to be a viable idea of what he will end up doing if he ever does see play, but it also narrows down the search enough for this to actually be enjoyable to make. Another thing to note is that I will try to review or at least look at each of these potential targets, keeping in mind that the scenario would more likely than not be that you normal summon Spirit Sculptor and then use his effect. Since Spirit Sculptor has a combined total of 3,700 attack and defense together, this list will span monsters with 3,700 attack and 0 defense, all the way to 0 attack and 3,700 defense. Oddly enough though, these are the parameters, but spoiler alert, there are no monsters who fit either 3,700 attack and 0 defense or 0 attack and 3,700 defense. And on the topic of monsters not fitting a specific combination of attack and defense that equals 3,700, on the screen right now, you are actually going to see every combination of stats for a monster that does not exist in the TCG according to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Database at the time of making this video. So if you don't see me cover a specific attack and defense combination, just make sure it's not on this list before you say anything, because there are no monsters that fit these attack and defense combinations. The strongest attack monster that can be searched by Spirit Sculptor using himself as tribute is the 2,800 attack and 900 defense Dark Fiend level monster, Dark Lucius level 8. This can be special summoned out from the deck though through Dark Lucius level 6, however, leaving this a very poor, unnecessary start to the list. In the 2,700 attack and 1,000 defense category, we actually have two Simorg cards, both the Dark and Original Bird. Whether it is pure chance or completely intentional, Spirit Sculptor's set, Rising Rampage, introduces a lot of other Simorg cards, so maybe Konami intended this to be a spicy tech in the deck. Mermail Abyss Lead is another target for this card. I'm not too familiar with mermails and their strategy specifically, but I don't think this one is too relevant of a target, nor would Spirit Sculptor be the best tech within mermaids in general. In the 2,500 attack, 1,200 defense category, Volcanic Queen is a target that can tribute an opponent's monster and special summon itself over to their field. The biggest downfall of this kaiju redeck from days old is that it eats up your normal summon, so if you normal summon Spirit Sculptor and then search this, you can't use its effect that turn. In more light-focused decks, Guardian of Order is an actual viable target that can special summon itself if you have at least 2 light monsters on your field. There's a Gladiator Beast, Spellbook, and even a true Draco in this mix, which is limited, so this could be a weird way to search Dynamite, but at the cost of a normal summon in true Dracos, maybe that's not the best course of action. The largest group of targets in this attack-defense bracket is the Archfiend archetype. Archfiend Commander, Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning, Skull Archfiend of Lightning, Summon Skull, and Toon Summon Skull can all be searched through Spirit Sculptor's self-tributing. Maybe with the new Summon Skull support releasing soon to the TCG, this card may become a viable addition to the strategy. Oh, and there's also the bird from that Zexal archetype with the cool artwork but bad effects. I would like to say that since it took me so long to actually read this script and make this video from when I actually wrote the script, that since then the Summon Skull archetype cards have actually come out already, so I just want to clarify that. The only actual target that's in the main deck is the Ritual, which I guess it's always good to search the Ritual, especially because in this deck you can't use pre-prep because of the Ritual spell being the generic dark thing. But just letting you know that I guess you can search the Ritual for Summon Skull as well, so add that to the list of 25 attack and 12 defense guys. In the 2400 attack and 1300 defense bracket, we have both Fallen Angel of Roses and Queen Angel of Roses. Fallen Angel has an effect that can special summon herself from the hand by bouncing a plant you control back to your hand, so this may be able to circumvent the field presence loss if you bounce back a plant that is beneficial in the hand. Interesting tech in an archetype that personally was one of the very first archetype decks I built back when I bought all my cards from Amazon. But bad times, bad deck, and bad choice. Within the 2300 attack, 1400 defense club, we have both Gold and Silva Woolords of Darkworld. These guys not only want to be in your hand anyways to get their effects off, but Dark Worlds in general often want their monsters to be discarded to activate their effects instead of summoned immediately, so Spirit Sculptor can use up this deck's normal summon without completely conflicting with the deck. Another potential target, and actually potentially one of the best targets Spirit Sculptor has when tributing himself, is none other than Necros of Trionic. This is the Searcher card for a Necros strategy, so being able to search a Searcher really makes Spirit Sculptor a normal summon that nets you a potential search for any monster you need within the Necros strategy. It also helps that since it is a ritual deck, the normal summon taken over by Spirit Sculptor doesn't hurt the deck too greatly, if at all. Swift Birdman Joe and Scrap Golem round off this list. Joe is definitely not a terrible card, but Golem being a level 5 and only being added to hand and not special summoned on top of being archetype locked with its revival effect makes it a subpar option as well. The 2215 gang has an interesting array of monsters that don't really have anything in common. Combo Master is cool, and you may be able to use Spirit Sculptor in a weird table 1000 variant of Combo Master Turbo. Fairy King Truesdale isn't worth it in 2019. Goblin Elite Attack Force is an interesting card, but is not the best choice in any conventional strategy outside of a low-tier beatdown deck. Judgeman for that nice Kaiba character deck all the casuals own, and Nechuria Stag Beetle, a card that has been power crept along with 90% of the rest of the Nechuria archetype. 2100 attack and 1600 defense is not only the exact inverse of Spirit Sculptor's original attack and defense, but this pool of potential monsters harbors a card that right when Spirit Sculptor was announced, people instantly thought of this card. Cyber Dragon is a fan favorite card whose roots run deep in both the anime, the real life game, and the childhoods of many members of the player base. This light machine can special summon itself to your side of the field if your opponent controls monsters and you don't. I believe with all the support Cyber Dragons have, Spirit Sculptor is probably not needed in any conventional Cyber Dragon build. It is an interesting option for Spirit Sculptor though, since if you normal summon Sculptor turn 1, you can search and then special summon out a Cyber Dragon, but unless you're trying to do something spectacular from there, this is a perfect case of better in a vacuum as opposed to practical application. Another searchable card in this bracket that can special summon itself is Mech Knight Green Horizon. Now, I've never played pure Mech Knights, nor has anyone else, but since they all special summon themselves, this may be an option to get green to your hand and go from there. If only he was more like his big brother's purple or blue, however, then maybe this would actually be something. Kokai Miru Power Hand, Mist Valley Executor, Assault Blackwing Kunai the Drizzle, and Gotham's, not the good one, are all part of this bracket as well, though none stand out too much as actual good options. The 2000 attack 1700 defense category is exclusively all level 6 dark spellcasters for some reason. First up in this list is Chronograph Sorcerer. This Pendulum Magician is played in a deck that usually focuses on a lot of combos, and I'm not sure Spirit Sculptor helps them with that or just clogs them up a bit more. The other 3 cards are Dark Magician Girl, Toon Edition, and Tanned Edition. Apprentice Illusion Magician is able to special summon herself from your hand and then search an OG Dark Magician from the deck to your hand. Maybe Spirit Sculptor will finally make Dark Magicians a viable strategy. In the 1900-1800 category, we have Sky Dragon, a level 6 Wind Vanilla. We also have Doom Caliber Knight, who in 2019 has definitely seen better days. Finally, we have Yellow Ninja, who is actually pretty good in pure ninja builds, but sadly cannot special summon itself from your hand aside from actually using the Pendulum Ninja Scales in the deck. I would say that's far-fetched, but if you're playing Spirit Sculptor, maybe you're also playing Pendulum Ninja, so who knows anymore. The 1800-1900 squad. The first of these monsters that have more defense than attack. We're starting off strong with the card Ancient One of the Deep Forest. He's a level 6 normal monster, but maybe he'll be good in GOAT format. Haha. Speaking of which, Exarion Universe is here too. Artifact Vajra is another option, but honestly isn't too great right now, but I do see potential for one day if certain spells and traps like being destroyed by their own effects. Dododo Bot is even bad in its own archetype. Its own Dododo archetype. The only 1700 attack and 2000 defense monster is this Resident Evil Reject. An artifact of the bygone era of those earth monsters that would set themselves once per turn and have effects when attacked or flipped face up, and this card has no place in 2019 Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm afraid. In the 1600-2100 defense category, we have a light level 4 fairy monster known as Spirit Sculptor. All jokes aside, although it's nice it can search itself, the deck thinning isn't worth an actual loss in field advantage, and unless you have a way to special summon this guy out, it's never worth tributing a Spirit Sculptor in order to add a copy of it from your deck to your hand. Earthquake Giant is the only other monster with these stats. Pick neither of these guys ever. The 2 targets for the 1500 attack and 2200 defense group are Artifact Achilles Shield and Contact C. Contact C is actually a pretty decent card for not only messing with Burning Abyss, which will live on in some form or another forever, and also may be troublesome for those who lack generic links to go into. Achilles Shield isn't the best, but it's good to know Sculptor may be an actual option to tech into artifacts, I guess. The 1200 attack and 2500 defense pool contains the wannabe holiday-inspired kaiju Santa Claus. He does the usual kaiju thing, but then during the end phase, your opponent draws a card, which usually is never a good thing. For the 3rd time on this list, we have another artifact, this time being Artifact Aegis. Again, not the strongest artifact, but still just further confirmation that Sculptor is a spiritual support card for artifacts. Next up is... wait a minute. That's all of them. That's right. Out of all the cards available to us in the TCG as of like the beginning of August 2019, the highest defense monster Spirit Sculptor can search is 2,500. I hope you guys found this list somewhat interesting. It's cool to glimpse into random cards throughout the years, and since the only stipulation was that they had to have their attack and defense equal 3,700, this list definitely had a wide array of different possibilities. Some techs that stand out to me are for the Trionic search in Necros and a normal summon in a very low tier pure artifact build. This engine or card isn't good right now, and quite honestly, a whole new archetype or gimmick will have to be released in order for this to ever truly see play. It's fun, and when you get off its effect, it sure is spicy, but all in all, I believe this is just another quite common case of a card coming out well before its time. If it will ever even get a time at all. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was actually very fun to do, and I want to make more videos like this where I just kind of like, I don't know, go through the Yu-Gi-Oh database and just find some cool thing to attach a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards to talk about them. I know this wasn't really an engine evaluation, and to be honest, right now, I kind of did most of the engines that I like definitely wanted to do when I thought of the series. So they'll be a little less frequent with the actual engine evaluations. I'm still trying to figure out how to get things nice and clean and watchable and like somewhat like potentially popular or something that'll like catch fire and make me a famous Yu-Gi tuber or something like that. But all jokes aside, I liked making this video. Kind of similar setup to the video games promos videos I did, so expect some more videos like that from me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and then please subscribe, because I love seeing that subscriber count go up. Thank you so much. I'm JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! See ya!